Black Ops, Tactical Espionage Wargaming by Guy Bowers. With apologies to Guy Bowers, we play a little fast and loose with this game. It's a great modern-day skirmish game. The core skeleton is nothing to write home about. Standard wargame design, no real surprises. Where this game shines is in the stealth. Espionage, right there, espionage. It shines with the stealth and with the stealth missions, and we're playing a stealth mission. In our last episode, our federales were able to catch them all. I got through the whole last video without making that joke, and I couldn't even get 2 minutes into this one without cracking wise. They have stolen the valuable Pokemon card that was funding the Patriots. And this time, they've decided to take the battle to the Red Hats. They're going to hit the factory compound in a raid designed to wipe them all out. Let's take a look at that compound. Small town America. Ugh, gross. They probably don't even have a Whole Foods. Why even live? The Red Hat compound is the target for our federal law enforcement agents. They have secured a warrant. Probably like a FISA warrant, the judge is sitting there like Mel Brooks in Blazing Saddles. Work. Signing the warrant. Do I have to read this? Of course not. Signing the warrant. So they don't have a warrant to go in and just shoot up the joint. The problem is, what with having succeeded in their last mission, stealing the Pokemon card from these Red Hats, they have defunded them, and the Red Hats are trying to figure out what to do next. They are on edge. They are on guard. Specifically, well, let's take a look at the forces first. Our ace, standard, right, 4s across the board. He's got his 5 thugs, 4s across the board. He's got an Uzi. These guys all have assault rifles, so it's all pretty standard. They save on a 3-up. These guys are all going to be saving on a 5-up. They're not tough. They don't have any body armor. It's kind of downtime for them. We've got a total of 5, 6, 7 just regular guards. We've got 6 regular guards. We've got one guy with an RPG. He was around last time, but since there wasn't any shooting in that scenario, he didn't get to have much fun. Counting is fundamental. Here's guard number 7. So we got an RPG with a loader. Takes an activation to load. You can load, and they both activate on King. So you can fire load. If he goes down, then you're only going to be he's only going to be able to fire every other load. We also have, I've swapped out 2 of the guards. Ron is Ron. Ron Wildcard is the leader of the Red Hats. I've also swapped out 2 of the guards for these dogs. Okay, there's one. This is an irregular miniatures figure. I know it's not zooming in. Let's try this, see if we can get this one to focus. And here's another dog. Now the dogs have no shooting, but they do have a fight skill of 3, and they get a +1 on their observation checks, because they can smell real good, right? Everybody has to start, so let's talk about deployment. Ron is going to start in the field office. That's over here, along with one of his bros. The RPG guy is going to start over here in this office, along with these. These are our reinforcements. According to the raid scenario, a quarter of your boys start off on guard inside the compound. Quarter of your guys start off in the security office, particularly the leader, and then the rest start over here. Once the alarm is sounded, then they're going to be able to activate. Until the alarm is sounded, they're just sitting there. Likewise with Ron. You can see most of the action from here. The defender's set up first. I've got a dog checking out this hole in the fence and one dog in the center looking north. One guard looking at the fence there, one guard looking at the fence there. I pulled them off 3 inches altogether. Then we have an agent here on this side, one over here, and then Ray and the other agent are over here. And that's how our initial deployment is going to work. Let's find our deck of cards. The dogs, because they have, and they're going to resist on a 5, by the way. Their profile is very easy. Close combat on 3, saving on 5s. They can't shoot, but they do have that bonus to the search check. They're going to go on queens. I'm treating them as specialists. And let's go ahead and where am I going to put this deck of cards where you can see it and see that I'm not cheating you? How about right over there for now? And that top card is going to be the black ace. Ray gets to go. He's going to move up 3 inches, and he's going to drop hidden right behind this Jeep. As always, we've got a lot of lovely little counters, courtesy of our Friends, I mean, they're not really my friends. They're just a guy I buy stuff from. That's the clear one here. It's hard to see. Over at Litco, and that's going to be his 2 actions. If you move more than 3 inches, you cannot hide. So he's hidden. Then we got the blackjacks, and it's going to be 3 inches all the way around if we want to hide, which we do. So this guy, by the way, this whole thing is not cover. It's just the rock. So he can move 3 inches up to here and hide, and this fella can move up to here and hide. This guy is going to, I think we're going to move him up to, you know, he could probably just go right on to guard. So guard allows you to respond to anybody moving into your path. You can either move or shoot. Normally you can move and shoot, but because he's kind of on overwatch, I guess you could call it, I wonder where he can move to. See, 3 inches, we might want to hide him over here. Why didn't I just deploy the both guys over here? That would have been smarter, wouldn't it? Now, I'm going to leave him back here because he may want to run around and hit them from the flank this way. The goal here is to do as much damage as possible point-wise. So we're going to try to shoot down as many of those guards as we can. And then that's what we're doing over here on this side. We're leaving these guys in position to ambush. So there's his 3 inches and his 3 inches, and they are all hidden, which is going to make spotting them very hard. It's daytime. For some reason, these arrogant agents have decided to opt for a daytime raid. Everybody's going on their side, and it's going to be the Black Joker. That is going to allow Ray to move an additional 3 inches. He's going to do just that. He's going to move up to here and stay hidden. Next up is the Red Jack. So we got to check on our guards, and it's just the 2 human guards. Got to roll some dice. It's a D6 roll for each of them. This one up here by the north gate gets a 1, and this one gets a 4. Checking our guard reaction, the guy up here is going to yawn. He can move forward 3 inches if he wants. We're going to do that. We're going to bring him up to here. Hopefully he can get close enough to start making some choices. But there's nobody in his line of sight, so that won't do him any good. The 4 is turn 180 degrees and move 6 inches. So he decides to turn around and head on over here, which puts him close enough. If he's within 12 inches, he can force Ray to make an observation check. Ray is going to roll a d6, and on a 6, he automatically passes. On a 1, he automatically fails. So normally you fail on a 6. But he is hidden, so that number drops to a 4. And he's behind cover, so that number drops to a 3. Oh, we may have some construction sounds to add to the ambiance. So 3 up is a success. He's good. That's it for the guards. We draw the next card. The king is still asleep. He's, I don't know, they're hanging out watching funny videos on YouTube over here in this office. Red Jacks get to go, so we have to roll for both guards one more time. And the guard up here is going to get a 6, and the guard down here is going to get a 6. And on our hey, what's happening chart, the 6 is going to be guard moves 6 inches in the direction he's facing. Huh? Well, he's at the gate. So what does he do? He uses his activation to open the gate. He wonders what's going on. This guy is going to move the full 6 inches. He's going to wind up over here, and he's going to say, man, I feel, man, my spider sense is tingly. And he has Ray in his line of sight. So as long as Ray doesn't roll a 1, he's fine. At a 4, he's going to be okay. That's going to be it for the Red Hats. The next activation is going to be Ron Wildcard, who's in the office, and then we go to Black Jacks. So the thing with the Black Jacks is that these thugs are going to be doing some wild stuff. He's going to stay here, and he's going on reserve. That was from, he's going to stay on reserve, I guess you could say. Oh, no, he moved up and hidden. Now he's reserve. This guy is going to move up 3 inches to here, and he's going to go hidden, but we're just going to move this one over here because these 2 guys are going to open fire on the dog. They're federal agents. There's nothing they love more than shooting dogs. But before we do that gunfire, we're going to do this guy. See the guy behind the tree over here? He was on reserve, Now he's going to move the 3 inches to here, and he's going to try to climb that fence. We got to roll a d6. Rolling low is good, and on our fence climbing chart, it's going to be a success. Obstacle cross. May complete remaining movement. So his remaining movement is to just stop right there. And since he rolled so well, we're gonna say he can hide. So he just vaulted that fence as though it was nothing. There's our pole vaulter right over here. These two are the two that are gonna fire, and they're gonna fire a single shot each. That allows them to fire an aimed shot. Normally they're hitting on 4s, but because they've aimed, they're hitting on 3s. Because this poor dog is not aware of them and it's stationary, they're going to be hitting on 2s. Because he is at effective range. Oh, what is effective range for an assault rifle? That's a great question. The assault rifle has no modifier at, where is it? 9 inches, up to 9 inches. So he's hitting on 3 up, and he is firing at longer range, so he has an additional -1. So he's hitting on 4 up. The yellow die is going to be the 4 up. They both hit. So that's 2 shots ring out in the night, and this poor pooch has to roll 2 dice, and he's got to get a 5 up on each of them. And he fails 1, so the pooch is down, and that's 3.5 points to the feds. No, it's 7 points, because there's nothing they love more than shooting dogs. They get double points for doing that. But they do have 2 noise markers, so that's going to make it harder for them to sneak around moving on. That's the end of the turn for these guys. Let's find out who goes next. The red queen is this pooch, who's going to roll to see what goes on. And on a number 2, Sergeant Puchinski there looks around. Turn 90 degrees on a D6. Odds turn left. Turns right. So he turns right. Is that it? Turn right and move 3 inches. That's what I thought. Okay, so because the doggo moves this way, it's got Ray in sight and is going to force Ray to make a check. But notice we have 2 noise markers on board. So normally the success is going to be on a 6. The success falls to rises to a 7, 8, 9 because it's the dog telling him. So he only succeeds on a 9 up. But he does fortunately have the hidden marker in place still, and he is still behind cover. So we subtract 4, and it's going to be a 5 up is what he needs to succeed. And on a 5, Ray stays hidden. Next up, Red Joker on guard. Red King on guard. Red Ace on guard. Black Ace. Ray can now open fire, and he's just going to light up the night. He's going to fire 3 shots from cover at an unaware target. Here's what it looks like from his point of view. Ray down here is going to fire 3 shots at the dog. Normally you have to fire at the nearest figure, but it's a federal agent. This is a dog. You think he's going to turn down an opportunity to shoot a dog? I don't think so. He's hitting on 4s, but effective range means that he's hitting on 5s, but this target is stationary and unaware, so he's going to be hitting on 4s. So 3 shots on 4s. He gets the 1 hit, and old Poochie there is going to save with a 5. So Doggo lives to fight another day, and that's going to be important because the dog has an opportunity to figure out what the heck is going on. We have to roll for the reaction, and that is modified +1 for every noise counter on the board. That becomes a 9. But because the noise counters are all behind cover, it drops back to an 8, which is advance and be recognized. The guard comes under the defender's control. You can do whatever you want. That means this guard is going to come over here and start yapping at the door, and on the next turn, see him over there at the office, begging to be let in. On the next turn, Ron is going to make his appearance. Now, everybody's still on guard duty, But Ron is very suspicious. There's a good chance he's actually going to be able to come out of the office and start poking around to see why the good boy is acting like a bad boy. All right, everybody's in the shot here, so the next order of business is shuffling our cards up. Give it a nice solid cut, and we'll figure out who goes next. Put those, I think right there is probably pretty good. First up is going to be the Red Jacks. That's this guy here who could have used those noise counters. On a 5, his reaction is going to be, now I'm going to give, since the dog started freaking out, I'm going to give all the guards an additional +1. That just makes sense. Things are getting tighter. That 6 is going to be a move 6 inches in the direction he's facing. He's already at the gate. He's going to stay there. He's really eyeballing Ray over here, and he's going to force him to make an observation check. That observation check is going to be at -1. Target number of 5. Excuse me, it's normally at 6. It's going to become a 7 because he has to roll 7 up because the guards are somewhat alerted. Then that's going to fall by 4 because of the cover and the hidden counter. Hidden counters don't go away. So he needs to roll a 3 up to succeed. And on a 2, he fails, and this guard sees him and is able to take action. Well, I think the first thing you got to do is get to cover. So he's going to run over here behind the guy, and then behind this front-end loader, and then he's going to light up Ray. Hidden counter goes bye-bye. And now, nobody else is alerted yet, just him and Doggo. So he's got an assault weapon. He has now moved, so he doesn't get the benefit of aiming anymore. He's hitting on 5s. He is at effective range. He's within 6 inches. So he's going to be rolling 2 dice. Hard cover doesn't affect it to hit. It affects the save. So he's going to fire 2 shots. He gets 1 hit. And, probably should have fired suppression fire. Ray is going to survive that hit. But we're getting some bullets around him and forcing him to duck his head down. That's it. Oh, then we've got this red guard over here who's going to have a 2, which is not great. For the guard reaction table, a 2 is going to be, I want to say it's moving 3 inches. And then, he just turns 90 degrees. So which way? Evens its left. So he turns to his right, and that's all he's going to do. Might be a problem having these come out early. Red King, he has not been alerted yet. Red Ace, now Ron comes out. I'm going to put him right here outside the door. And he says, "What is it, boy? What is it?" He's only going to be able to roll as a guard reaction. And a 1 means that all he can do is kind of wander 3 inches forward. Because until he gets to the point that he understands that there's trouble on board, he cannot raise the alarm. That's all he can do for now. Leaves him very vulnerable to Ray, who is going to stay where he is. No, he's got that submachine gun, so he can actually vault up, move a little bit closer, which may pay off. I don't know. What do you think? You think you should stay there? You don't give up hard cover for soft. That would be ridiculous, particularly because you are within that 6 inches, so you're just firing 3 shots at a guy who's in soft cover. He's kind of hugging the tire here, let's say. And you're firing 3 shots. You're hitting on a 4 up. There's no other modifiers. He's close enough. And you're going to get 3 hits right off the bat on that guy, forcing him to make 3 saves. He normally saves on a 5 because of the soft cover. He saves on 4s. He's only going to get 1 save, so with 2 hits, he goes down. And the federal agents are already looking sharp. But those 3 shots do raise our noise level to 3. The Red Jacks get to go, and that's going to be this guy over here in the gate. Now, he still is on guard because the alert hasn't been raised, but with a 9, he can do whatever he wants. So now we have this guard able to move up to here, take cover, and return fire on Ray. And he's going to go ahead and fire 2 shots, suppressing fire now, to keep him down. That also generates 2 more noise tokens. I think you see where we're going here. There's a chance that Ron is totally oblivious But, you know, with 5 noise tokens, it gets a decreasing likelihood. So with 2 shots, suppression shots, he normally hits on 5. He is at longer range, he's hitting on 6, but because it's suppression, he's hitting on 5s. So for every 5 up, he gets a suppression marker, he doesn't get any. Then it's gonna be, are there any other guards on duty anymore? Nope, the only other one that was out died. Blackjacks, all right, time 4. So down here, we've got a couple of guards that we need to deal with. This guard is going to go on reserve. He is waiting for these guys to come out of their hidey hole. So is this guy. He's gonna swing around and he's gonna go on reserve. So we got 2 guys. As soon as they come out, they're gonna open them up. We have another guy over here who is going to advance into the compound, that 3 inches, and let's take a look at the world from his point of view. In order to get any shots off, he's going to have to advance up to here. He takes cover. That is a steel bucket. And then this guy, for cover, is going to move 3 inches over and take cover right here. So we've got these 2 guys each taking shots at Ron, and the distance here is going to be 10 inches. He's going to be at -1. Well, I should say +1. Remember, the modifiers are inverted. They are hitting on 4s. He moved, so he is hitting on... he moved more than 3 inches. So he's going to be hitting on 5s. He's firing at effective range. He is also hitting on 5s. They can fire a total of 2 shots apiece. So I'm rolling 4 dice, looking for 5s, and they really want to put him down. So that forces Ron to make 2 saves, and he's going to fail both of those. So the leader goes down. At that point, so now the question becomes, who is the leader? And the leader becomes, because Ron is down, the leader becomes the queen over here. Are we done with all of our 1, 2, 3, 4? I think we're missing one. One of our guards hasn't acted. Where is he? We should have a 5th guard somewhere. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Here he is. He's still hiding back here. Guy, you want to come out and you want to come over and help out a little bit here? 6 inches will take him to here, and then another 3. I'm kind of thinking we've got 2 guys already covering this area. I think we need to bring him back over here. We're going to bring him 9 inches, and that's all he's going to be able to do. We'll put him right here for now. And that's it for that blackjack. Then we go the Red King. He is now, he's still on guard. The alert has not been raised. The Red Ace, we're going to get that out of the deck since Ron has been put down. The Black Ace gets to go. And... well, this is a bit of a conundrum. I guess I wonder if we should go ahead and roll for Ron for the RPG guy. That king is going to roll for a reaction to see if all that noise affects him. Now he is inside the place, so the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 noise markers. I forgot to put 4 down here. That becomes a +5 to his roll. So he rolls a 7, and a 7 is a reaction of, I think there's a problem. He turns as necessary and moves 6 inches to the nearest model. So what I'm going to do is bring him out. And he says, hey, what's going on? Like so. That exposes him to fire from this guy and this guy. Remember, these 2 were on reserve. That removes the hidden. And there's so many noise tokens that the alert is raised. And all of the guards can now act freely, but we have to resolve these 4 shots. And he is unaware. They are firing single aim shots, let's say. So they're going to be hitting on, normally it's 4s. The aim shot makes it 3. He's unaware that it makes it 2. So anything but a 1. They both hit, and our RPG boy fails both of his, and he goes down. And the red hats are really up against the wall now. So everybody, so that is the Red King. And then Ray gets to go. And Ray is going to pull, he's going to jump over because he wants to line up for when these guys come out too. They gotta come out when that next red jack appears. Or they don't. If the black jacks go, we'll start with these two over here. This guy can move 3 inches to here to open up a line of sight on that dog. This guy can move, he's going to have to move 6 inches, though, if he wants to take a shot. And oh boy, does he. Oh boy, does he. He's going to come up to here, and I guess we'll move this guy just to keep it simple. He comes up to here, and that way they've both moved. They can't fire aim shots, so it's going to be 4 shots at the dog. I guess I could show you. There's a little better camera angle, don't you think? Wouldn't you agree? So these 2 agents have moved up to this dog here, and they're going to take 4 shots at him. They're hitting on 4s, but they move, so they're hitting on 5s. So we get a total of 3 hits, and that dog is saving on 5 up, and he saves all 3 times. Super Dog is not impressed by all of your noise. The Black Joker gets to go. Ray is going to go on reserve down low. Since I'm just dropping a token, I ain't going to show you. The next up is the Queen. So Doggo has had just about enough of your nonsense, and he leaps onto this guy, and we have a close quarters combat. That close quarter combat, the yellow is going to be for the federal agent, and the white is going to be for the dog. The dog is rolling successes on a 3, I think we said, and the agent on a 5. So nobody gets any success. We are done with that turn. Then it's going to be the Red Queen. Doggo gets another attack. And Doggo succeeds. The guy fails. That means the guy has to save against a 5, and he does. So they're still engaged in hand-to-hand combat. Last card of the turn is going to be the Red Joker. Of course, it does no good because Ron has already been put out of the fight. For the record, the order of these card draws is going to be vital. The loader converts, since the RPG was lost, the loader converts to a regular red-hatted guard. This is a point where the game, I guess, maybe starts to break down unless you stop and think about it. Essentially, what's going to happen here is we could treat this as a strong point, but I don't have any, maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should just treat these guys as being in a strong point, and they're under heavy cover, and it just becomes a gunfight where only 2 can fire out through the windows and the door, maybe 3 altogether. That's really complicated. We're just going to have our guys kind of barge their way out in each case. So the order becomes very important because if the red hats get to go first, they're going to get to jump out and take some shots. But if the black hats go first, they're going to get to go on reserve. And of course, the black hats do go first, so Ron is going to take reserve. And then sure enough, we got some fun to have here. So these guys are going to rush out and jump 1, 2. They're just going to go straight to close quarters. So 2 of these guys are going to get jumped. I guess we'll do 2 here and 3 here. They're all fighting with improvised weapons. It's going to be 2 and 3. And so what happens now is the yellow die is going to be for the federal agent in each of these cases. And in both cases, the attacker adds 1 die to the roll. Red hat succeed on 5. Black hat succeed on 4. So we'll do this one first. And the black hat wins this one. And nobody wins here. So the black hat forces one of these guys to take a regular save, which he fails. So one of these guys gets put down in melee. Then we've got one more guy out here who can run out and engage in close quarters combat with this guy. And again, we're going to get to roll 2 dice versus the 1. The 4 is going to be a success. Well, I probably should have rolled a separate die. No, he only succeeds on 5s, I think. CQC for the Mooks. He only succeeds on 5, so nobody wins. And that's it for the guards. The red ace, we don't have any ace. The red queen gets to go, so that's Doggo over here. Friday Night Fights. This good boy is going to attack. Now this time he's got help, and he succeeds on 4s. So the federal agent succeeds. Dog saves on a 5. He fails, and the dog goes down. Man, melee is savage in this game, isn't it? All right, we'll come back to here so we can see what's going on down here in these arenas. The dog is gone, so we'll go ahead and take both of those queens out of the deck. And we're down to Ray, who can... He's only got a line of sight over here. If he runs into this combat, we're going to run him over here, but he's not going to be able to make a hand-to-hand combat this turn. He's just lending his aid. Oh, that's what we do. We pair these guys off now, which is all you need to do. Oh, good, and then he can make his attack. So he's hitting on 4s. The white die is hitting on 5s, but this time red hat only gets 1 die. So Ray wins. He is fighting with an improvised weapon. So the guy's succeeding, but a 1 is a failure. So he goes down. And then, man, this game starts moving quick once you get through the stealth phase, huh? So we got a fight here. Is going to be success for the red hat. He has to make a save on a 4-up. He makes it. And then we got another fight over here. It's going to be 2 dice versus... Oh, no. No. First of all, he gets stuck in. And that way it's just 2 one-on-one melees. And the first melee is going to go to... the yellow is a success. 2 successes. If they both succeed, then it goes to who's fighting with the... If they both succeed, do they both have to make a check? If both succeed, the lowest roll wins, which means the federal agent wins. And now our red hat has to save on a 5-up, which he does. On the second attack, the agent wins, and the red hat does not. Red hat has to save, and he does. And then we've got one more fight way over there in the back. This agent is going to pile in, and now it's going to be 2 yellow versus 1 red. Yellow's hitting on 5s. He gets the success. The red hat fails his save, and then he's out of the fight as well. Man, it looks like it's going to be a clean sweep here for the federal agents, doesn't it? Next up is going to be the red hats, and that means we've just got 3 one-on-one fights. This fight down here is going to be a victory for the black hat. Fight over here is going to be nobody hits, and then the last fight is going to be nobody hits. So we just have to roll for this guy, who is going to fail his save. It's a 5-up save, and then the last card of this turn is more black hats. So he'll come on over here and pile in, and that's going to give us 2 dice. The red hat wins, forcing one of these guys to make a save, which he fails. So there's our first victory for the red hats. Then we have this fight over here. We'll go ahead and do this a little bit out of order. The red hats with a 6-3 are forcing a save, saving on a 4-up. He fails his save. So that agent goes down. But we have 2 more agents who are going to rush to their friend's aid. They can move 6 inches to the gate and then 3 inches along, which will put them right here. Outnumbered 2-4. It's not looking good for our red hats. At least they have a chance to put one more guy down. The black joker's not going to help because it's going to allow Ray to come over and turn this into a fair fight. And fair fights are for idiots. Ray is going to be hitting on... Well, they both fail. Then it's going to be the red jack. So we've got 2 fights. Both fail. And this time they both succeed. The victory goes to the guy with the lowest roll, which was the white die, so the black hat has to save, and he makes his save. Likewise, we're going to do Ray first. Ray wins the fight, and the guy fails his save. So that red hat, and then, I probably should have done a dedication check at some point, but it's pretty much, they were already in combat. Everybody misses. For that, Ray is going to get the attack with the extra die, hitting on 5s. The victory goes to the guy with the lowest roll, but since he's outnumbered, the red hat has to save, and he fails, so that's the end of the game. So just like that, it's a clean sweep. Oh, you know what? Oh, man. You want to see something funny? I did have one more red hat hiding back behind that piece of machinery. I totally forgot about this guy. He was hidden so well. I guess he failed his dedication check, and he actually ran off when none of us were looking. Hey, that's the end of the scenario. The raid really probably is balanced wildly in favor of the attacker. Now, I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. Sometimes unbalanced scenarios can be a lot of fun. But I will say this. It's definitely a thing you should be aware of, so that when you play this game on your own, you understand that. But I will say this. It largely depends on how well you're able to use cover to your advantage. We gave the defenders a bit of an advantage by giving them dogs who are very good at sensing threats, and it didn't do them a whole lot of good. Part of that is because the dice didn't come up their way. Part of that is because the cards didn't come up their way. But also, I think the bigger thing is that the knowing where the reinforcements came on really allowed the Black Hats to set up an ambush and dictate the flow of the battle. If you had a situation where the reinforcements were coming on from random board edges, that would have made this fight a lot harder. You would have been trying to get rid of everybody on board first and consolidate a central position so when reinforcements arrived, you were ready for the counterattack and already dug in. That's probably the better way to do it. But still a fun exercise, still a tense and exciting battle, still well worth your time to pick up a copy of these rules because they are so much fun. Oh, do we want to figure out what our next battle is? We should at least roll to see how well the Federales did. And that 3 means that the Black Hats score 1 intel. Hey, they're clawing their way back into this campaign. They've got 2 intel to the Red Hats 5. Remember, if the Red Hats can score just 1 more intel, they'll win the campaign and force a final confrontation. In the meantime, our next scenario. Now, the orange die is going to be for whether we run a standard or a stealth mission. On a 1 or a 2, it's going to be a standard mission. So it is a standard mission, and then the 6 down here means we're going to be doing a breakout mission. The breakout, I don't know if we've seen this before, it's basically the same setup as this one, except instead of trying to kill as many of the other guys as you can, you have to get as many of your defenders down, off the board as possible. Question is, where is that going to take place? And for that, we roll... I'm going to roll a 2d6. The yellow die is for the mission, and the white die is for the where. So a 5 is a raid, and this time it's going to be held at a local residence. Play on the compound board. It's going to look a little bit something like this. You have a nice little chateau surrounded by scenery with 1 road getting in. So that's what you can look forward to in the next. Of course, we'll probably add our usual satirical level of tongue-in-cheek humor because, honestly, this modern-day skullduggery and government forces hunting down citizens who have the wrong political affiliation is kind of scary stuff. We don't want to take it too seriously. The world itself is serious enough. Thanks, you guys, for hanging out with me while I goof around here on the table. Till next time, I'm praying for you.